Simon Pegg's career as both a writer and performer have seen him span the divide between Hollywood blockbusters and homegrown indies. Pegg's latest movie sees him getting down and dirty, quite literally, in the hyper-inventive, as well as more than a little bizarre British comedy, A Fantastic Fear of Everything.
After you, sir.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. I might leave these open.
Is it here I was supposed to sit?
Yeah,
Good.
sit there.
Having recently wrapped in Los Angeles on the much-anticipated sequel to Star Trek, Simon Pegg returned to the UK to tell Alex Zane about his past, his present, and his future.
Simon Pegg, it's great to see you.
Very nice to be here.
How are you enjoying this mini heat wave that we're enjoying here in London?
Well, I've just come in on the back of it, actually. I've been away for several years, feels like. So I've just come back into lovely hot London. It was very nice to land from California into similar heat, but I've had this for 6 months, so it's kind of like, meh.
You're over it.
Yeah.
Show me some rain.
I'm over the sun.
Excuse me, are these yours?
On to more pressing matters.
Yes.
A Fantastic Fear of Everything. It's one of these movies where I'm going to limit what we talk about because it's a voyage, and it's sort of, and then it changes, and
Yeah.
so I'm already being vague.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about what it's about and who indeed your character Jack is.
Well, Jack Knife, full name, is an author, a children's author, who has decided that the sort of, the kind of facile world of children's literature is beneath him, and has gone on to write a series of plays called Decades of Death, which are about the history of murder. And in the writing thereof, he's become obsessed with serial killers and thus convinced that he's going to be killed.
Do you have a title?
Decades of Death.
Chilling.
It's a detective story. How do they get there? What fills them with the need to victimize and kill? Why choose mass murder?
Whatever happened to the hedgehog?
What? I didn't mean to become a children's author. It was a terrible accident.
His children's writing was essentially a cathartic outlet for him, because he was abandoned as a child and his mum left him with nothing but a book of these little woodland creature characters. And he's essentially never addressed his childhood issues and his abandonment, and it's just spiraled into this terrible, awful, multiple phobic kind of thing that he has going on. And a very esteemed Hollywood producer becomes interested in his plays and wants to meet him, and in order to meet him, he has to not only wash his clothes, but leave the house, or leave the house and wash his clothes, and it becomes the worst day of his life.
I'll see you in my dreams.
I'm sick of these irrational fears. Like the bloody laundrette, it's stopping me from living my life.
I don't think there's a scene in the movie that doesn't see you in it, and for a large portion you are on your own, monologuing and sort of talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Is that difficult to do? Is that something quite enjoyable, not working with another actor on screen, or is it slightly more testing? I mean, because you're not having to rely. You fluffed your line, and that was my best take.
Right, yeah. No, that's true, actually. It's a blessing and a curse. You kind of get the freedom of just being you, and you don't have to rely on anyone else's rhythm. It isn't just you, of course. You're surrounded by great production design and a director and great lighting, and so it looks like you're carrying the whole thing, but you're not.
Cut on that one. Lovely. I hurt my jaw. Good to do the.
It was great fun to play around and just be lost in that set. I had the best time, just me in my underwear for days and days.
Action.
My knife. I was a teenager during the Britpop era,
right?
And so I was very aware and very into Cooler Shaker, whose lead singer, of course, Crispy and Mills, is the director and writer of the Fantastic Fear of Everything. Did you know him before this film came to you?
Yeah, I did actually, and I knew because my wife Maureen used to work with Crispy and with Cooler Shaker and Sony. When she was at Sony, she was their publicist, and so I met Crispy a long time ago, through her. And then he came to me with the script one day. He came round and he's like, "Oh no, I'm here to see you, not Maureen." I was like, "All right." And he gave me the script and I read it and it was really good. And I thought, and we talked about it a bit. And I said, and he was thinking of it as a short film. And I said, look, if it had another act somehow, if it could be expanded another 25 pages, this could be a feature film. And I was blown away by his writing. I was kind of shocked how good he was, because I just figured he was an Axeman. You know, he's an incredible guitarist and a rock star as far as I was concerned.
Isn't it annoying when people are just a bit too talented? You cannot be good at that.
I know.
I do what I do because I have no musical talent and I can't sing.
Yeah.
So
even though when he said he wanted to direct it, I was like, really? As soon as he started talking about it, I can't say how quickly my fears, if I had any, were allayed, because it was like, oh, okay, no, you really know what you're talking about. And then when we're on set, you know, he was just like, he was born to it.
the movie that really sort of put you on the map and kind of certainly cemented your status as a leading man was Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Stay behind me! Stay behind me!
There's one!
Sorry, we're closed!
When you sort of look back to Shaun and that era, is there one thing, if you had to pick one thing that you think made that movie just explode in the way it did, and especially internationally, what that thing might be?
I don't know. It was made with a lot of love, and we made it. We didn't make it for anyone other than ourselves, really. We made a film that we wanted to watch, and it was made with a huge amount of sort of devotion and passion, and hopefully that comes across. You know, we weren't trying to make a buck. We weren't trying to please anybody. We just wanted to make our own zombie film, and I think one of the reasons it sort of did well in America is because, unlike some of our output, they were able to relate to it a little more because it was. The zombie film that we adopted was something that they know.
Oh my God. She's so drunk.
There's a weird thing over there in that we are foreigners over there, really, and our films, even though we speak the same language, are seen as foreign movies, you know.
Do something! Wait there. Ed! 2 seconds. Jeez, look, I'm really flat and everything, really, but I just... And hold it there. Ed, just get her off me!
It's a weird one. It was kind of lightning in a bottle, really. We didn't know what we were doing. We weren't divisive about it. It wasn't like, let's make a film that'll get us all this stuff. And, you know, it just sort of, we just did it for a goof, you know, and it's crazy.
And it was a sort of, I guess it was a slice of the UK that America hadn't seen before either. I mean, they'd sort of seen the Notting Hill variety, the kind of like the pastel hued sort of England, and this was the suburbs of North London, and it's like there was no point of reference for them with any other film I can think of.
It was so funny to be in like Detroit or Michigan and see Crouch End on the big screen. It just didn't make any sense, you know. It just was completely weird and hilarious and kind of wonderful in a way. Yeah.
Of course, you are, I think I'm right in saying you're about to embark on what is the third part of your Cornetto trilogy, which started with Shaun and then Hot Fuzz. For anyone who doesn't know, it was Shaun, Hot Fuzz, and you're about to start working on the final film, The World's End.
Yes, absolutely, and very excited. It was a real joy. Last year, Edgar and me went away, as we did with Hot Fuzz, to Cowley Manor, and we sat in a room and just talked for like 2 days. Hashed out the basic idea, which we kind of had. We'd had the idea on our Hot Fuzz press tour. When I was doing Star Trek, every day I didn't work on Star Trek, I worked with Edgar at Working Title in LA and 9 to 5, you know. We wrote a version of it before Christmas and then we refined it to get to a stage that we felt like this was a shooting draft. The film itself is probably the most mature thing we've written, and it's also the silliest, you know. So it's got, and it makes the original other two films, it brings the three together as a trilogy, and you'll be able to watch them and see how they all relate to each other and how they are. It isn't just 3 films, it's 3 films about a specific thing. And that thing is the struggle of the individual against the collective.
Without wanting to give too much away, from what I've gathered from plucking, you know, little tidbits here and there from every source I can, the words that stick out in my mind are pub crawl.
Yes.
And the apocalypse.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's just not as simple as that. And And I'll leave it at that. But
okay.
It's about a monumental pub crawl that that this group of friends try and recreate from a night in their past, a 12 pub crawl along a golden mile of, craziness, and it just coincides with other incidents in the world.
Right. That's good. That's enough. That'll keep me going until I see it. And of course, the wonderful Nick Frost.
Of course, Nick, it goes without saying. He's my brother from another mother. So it's the chance to actually be acting with him again. Basically, me and Nick work together so we can hang out. I mean, we're both married with kids now. It's like we're not like we were when we were young, living in the same bedroom. We're like, we live at opposite ends of the capital, and the only way we can really spend quality time with each other is to make films. So that's like our primary motivation. It's got nothing to do with, anything else. It's just hanging out.
Player 2 has entered the game.
And you got work.
Player 2 has left the game.
Star Trek 2, I imagine at the moment, security is tighter than Area 51 on anything. And there is some information that obviously I know, like Benedict Cumberbatch is playing the villain, which I think may or may not be Khan. I don't know if that's...
Misinformation.
Right, okay.
It's there's a whole culture of misinformation out there. But you know what, we've been very... People always going on about J.J. Abrams being like so secretive, but all he's doing is protecting the film. That's all of us are doing by not speaking about it. I just feel like JJ's got the right idea in terms of, because what you want to do is be surprised. You don't want to go in there thinking, oh yeah, Benedict's playing the Gorn. Oops, no, kidding.
But you seem to have this closeness with your fans, where they could come up and happily talk to you about Shaun of the Dead, I imagine, or whatever. And yet you have Tom Cruise's phone number in your mobile, and that's quite an amazing achievement.
No, it's crazy, isn't
it? to sort of to straddle both worlds.
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a spy in the cab. I feel like I've got to this point by working hard, and I've not won a competition. I feel like I've earned the right to have Tom Cruise's phone number, but it doesn't make me anything different to who I was before I had Tom Cruise's phone number. It's just the way it is. I work with a guy. I got to phone him every now and again and say, can I have my trainers back, or whatever. And so it's a weird one. With Twitter, it's a nice way of being in touch with people, and I think it's a job in a way. And to be perfectly honest, it works as a very, very handy promotional tool, particularly for a film like Fantastic Fear, which doesn't have a big marketing budget behind it and needs help to get out there. It's great to be able to use Twitter to say, maybe check this film out if you fancy it. But you've got to temper that with self-promotion, with other stuff. And
I'm having some soup.
Yeah, I'm doing a poo, whatever. I'm walking my dog. And if you can maintain it on that level and make it interesting 75% of the time, then the other 25% of the time, it's very handy to say, please go see my movie.
Simon Pegg, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Alex Zane, similarly.
Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you.
You know me. I'm sensitive. I've never even bought toilet roll.